Everybody. This is 1,107 days, I believe. 1,100, so many days um, since Richard went missing. And it hasn't been easy because we have been made the chief investigators. We have been made the media. We have been made um, the Richard's advocate. Uh, and, just to try to get everything out there that we are learning is very, very difficult. So we really appreciate Team Farm Richard Halliday. We have someone that's helping us write. We have writing help now. We have media help now. Not media, but tech help. And so we also have witnesses now um, helping. So I just really want to say thank you so much for all the help because we are making great strides in the last weeks. Um, since we have gotten this extra help, we have made great strides. And you'll see that we have made these, have found out so much information. It's blowing our mind again that, of course, the retaliation has increased, and you'll see that retaliation, but it's becoming a little bit clownish, ridiculous, and I think people are seeing through it, and especially people that know us. If you know us and you've known us for years, and you've known Richard for years, and you've known Robert and Hannah and Allison and our grandbabies, and been to the weddings and everything, uh, write a write a character um, piece. Write a little letter, write a little brief about what you know about our family. We would really appreciate that because the it would help to fight against the false narratives that are being put out there. And you see that with President Trump. They put out all these false narratives, and with many others of January 6th. We're January 6th. We're the Christian. We're the nationalists. A nationalist is becoming a dirty word. Why? Why? Aren't we proud of our nation? I'm very proud of our nation, and that's why we're fighting so hard because our nation has been infiltrated by people that will sell themselves out to foreign and domestic enemies of this nation. And they will use the system by abusing it with fraud, waste, and abuse. And we see that in this case with we see the fraud, waste, and abuse and how they infiltrated our agencies, our institutions, and use them on the taxpayer's dime to, what I call be up to no good, to do no good. And matter of fact, it's like to increase pedophilia, to increase child pornography, to increase fraud, waste, and abuse within the military as far as weapons smuggling, ammunition smuggling, equipments. What's happening with the children with this, the human trafficking? What kind of shipping? Who has connections with shipping in this mess? That is also a really, really good question here. And why is Park University all of a sudden coming front center to be alongside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, have a common denominator with key suspects in Richard's disappearance, and the cover-up, and the suspects in the cover-up of Richard's disappearance. And so I think it's a really wonderful day to talk about uh, the illegalities here because today is uh, well, we have about 35 more minutes of the transfiguration of our Lord Jesus Christ that we set apart this day to remember those verses. And I think it's really important. So let's see if I'm on Facebook. Let's see if I'm there. Thank you for yesterday. I didn't do this kind of broadcast. I just did my walk. Pretty hot and humid out there, but I needed to do that. I needed to go on that walk. Thank you so much, Anicia. Because last week was really, really difficult. I mean, the weight, the burden of the heaviness of the crimes in this case. You know, you look at the vile and vulgar, but where are the arrests? You know, the crime to not establish justice, to not carry out your duty, to protect the families and the children and the community and our culture. That's why we have law enforcement. And where are the arrests? When you read the Leilani Hart's notarized, okay, so that's a sworn affidavit, notarized criminal complaint affidavit on the 22nd of July 2020. All you can do after crying is ask, where are the arrests? Because that is an arrestable document. That document, there has to be arrests, okay? And that was part of Richard's file. Okay, so wrap your head around that. That document is part of Richard's file. Part of Richard's file. So you see why the file was tampered with, why they wanted to get rid of certain things in there, right? And that was an unlawful access to a record. Okay, we have a officer of the court as a key witness to that unlawful access, unauthorized access to Richard's record, and that there was tampering, and that there was tampering with video and video missing. And now we have the connections in the common denominators of protection. We have 3 levels, maybe more levels of connection. What are they? I think 4 levels. I'm thinking 4 levels. The military connection. That these are veterans or part of the military community. They're part of DOD. Okay? Who am I talking about? Leilani Hart, James Hart, Dallas Hart, what's his name from DES? Thomas Kane, Tavita Nusa, CID, Soto, Marlon Soto, Judge Robert Shook, Sean Bernabe, Stewart, Clem Coward, and I meant to look it up because I never talk about it, and this is why you have to talk about it every day. The general that Sean Bernabe replaced, he's part of it too. Roddick, Lieutenant Colonel Roddick, Park, Captain Park, First Sergeant Jay Paulin, Jake Jakovitz, a Command Sergeant Major, right? All these people have the military in common. And then you have a group that what do they have in common? They have Park University in common. Leilani Hart again, right? Then you have Thomas Kane. And then there's um, John Stewart. There is Judge Michelle Morales, her husband, attorney Leonard Morales. There is um, two other victims of false allegations in connection. There is Anna Whitehead. Okay. There is the uh, communications director. I think that's his title. He has some other title for Park University to come into play in this. The president of Park University coming into play in this. Of course, Richard connected coming into play with this. And we will reveal more. We have CPS being connected. We have, of course, James Hart in the VA connected. So you have CID, VA, CPS, the director of security of Fort Bliss. You have the command. You have another very important individual that connects this case with the emergency intake center, center, yes. And so you have Danae Katzen connected with this. There's so many. There is so many that are connected in this case that worked together. Why? Why did they work together to cover up what Richard was reporting? Because this is another thing that we have to wrap our heads around, and it takes a long time. That's why I have to repeat this over and over again. Richard's case did not begin with his disappearance, with his murder. Richard's case began much earlier when he was making the complaints. There was events that happened that we are finding out that led to Leilani Hart desperately, that was a desperate confession that she had notarized as a criminal complaint affidavit on the 22nd of July 2020. Desperate attempt to, I believe, legally cover herself up as a whistleblower. Give her that whistleblower status. And that happened the day, the 22nd of July is, mark that down, right? That's an important date in many ways. And we're finding out the tampering. We know, we have confirmation. Okay, we have confirmation from the military archives that Richard's file has been tampered with, scrubbed, sanitized, and things are missing. Things were altered. Okay, we know that. We know that that happened also. If the military archives that we have is not enough for the public, we also have the confirmation from Special Agent of the CID Quantico Howell, Special Agent Howell, that admitted that important witness testimony was removed from Richard's file. This is super alarming. Okay? Then we have, I wrote a couple notes down just so I remember to say it all. Because I'm trying to do this all by memory. All by memory, to absorb, to know it like the back of my hand, right? What is going on. Exactly. We have the officer of the court that submitted a CID criminal complaint or a complaint, a CID complaint, an FBI complaint, and his complaint in his official office, in his official status. He signed it to the commander, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. At that time, Major General. He received a 3rd star for his criminality, y'all. For his criminality, for his betrayal of his oath, he received a 3rd star. That's why today, being Transfiguration Sunday, is so important. It's so important to talk about what was God trying to tell us? What was Jesus in the flesh, God in the flesh, trying to tell us with the Transfiguration? Because we have Special Agent Howell confirming that there's missing information from Richard's file. We have the archives, missing information, tampered information from Richard's file. We have the official, the officer of the court in his official status, witnessing to the confession of tampering of the Richards file, video missing, video being deleted, video being tampered with. Okay? That kind of confession of bodily harm. We have submitted an open records request to Thomas Kane. We have it confirmed that he, quote, intentionally disregarded our open records request, ignored it. This is a federal crime. Okay, but we also put in an official request, 2 of them, to Judge Robert Shook. What did we receive back? A severing of all communication with JAG on Fort Bliss. What did we request? We requested the probable cause affidavit. Why? Why they wanted to search our house? That's a probable cause affidavit. Give me some reasons why you want to enter our house with the Fugitive Apprehension Unit, with an assault team. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to come to our house and search our home with an assault team in full assault gear? Why do you want to do it? That's a probable cause. Okay? And where's the warrant to do it? Because the Sarasota sheriffs that, the Fugitive Apprehension Unit, they're deputies, they're part of the sheriff's office. They don't have it. They don't have it. They don't have a probable cause affidavit. They don't have a warrant. So why did they send their deputies to come to our house in full assault gear, the Fugitive Apprehension Unit, an assault unit, not just, sheriffs in a sheriff car, come on up and, no, to go around the back of the house and everything in full assault gear. What was the cause? Where is the warrant? That was our request of Robert Shook. But there was more. We also requested because of, just think, put yourself in our position. We are getting information that there are 3 autopsies, that our son was brutally tortured, murdered, dismembered, and put in different locations. And here are the autopsies. Here are the autopsies of partial remains, fragmented remains. Here they are. And one of them is from Mexico, which really puts, stands our hair up on our arms, because we have Nadal Baim, the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, Richard's command, Richard's Operational Order Command team. That group, that unit, the father-in-law, saying that the FBI, that he's with the FBI, that he is an employee of the FBI, saying that the FBI, his information is that they found him, that they found Richard, they found his remains in Mexico. Shh, shh. We have that, and we get these. Put yourself in our shoes. They have smeared Richard. They didn't tell us that he was a whistleblower. We know now for a fact that he was a whistleblower. There is no doubt that he was a whistleblower. He's a whistleblower. We know that he had a file before he went missing. He's a whistleblower. We know that that affidavit, that vile, vulgar affidavit, Leilani Hart's confession about her family being pedophiles, being incestuous, engaging in child pornography, sexually assaulting a 7-year-old in her master bedroom, causing her family to be alcoholics, to be on drugs, to be depressed, sleepless nights, anxiety, that her husband bought weapons illegally, that he threatened with weapons, and that she thought it was okay to delay the reporting, the failure to report. She's been doing this for 30 years. 30 years. And she thinks it's okay to leave her friend's children, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, small children, with her, with the perpetrators, criminals in her family for childcare. That she felt, and they have a Hearts childcare, that she thought it was okay to do that, to risk her friend's children, where weapons were bought illegally. Put yourself in our shoes. We asked the judge, questioned him for open records, for the warrants to exhume the findings of Richard's partial remains at. Did they do that? It would require a warrant. What about the autopsies? What about the autopsies? We asked the judge. Now, what did we get back in response to that? It wasn't as kind as Thomas Kane, who just ignored us, intentionally ignored us, probably buried our request, but we covered that. We sent Patrick Dyer, the new DES, our open records request. Have we heard anything yet? No. What is he going to do? Ignore us too? But the JAG was even worse. They sent us a letter to sever communication with Richard Halliday, the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier family, the whistleblower's family. Now we're the whistleblowers. It's a dual case now, right? Because our house was illegally searched. And the JAG is severing communication with us because we dare to ask the judge for an open record to deny or to confirm if they performed autopsies on the exhumed partial remains of our son. That we want to know if they have a probable cause affidavit to search our home with a warrant. Where's the warrant? And they sever ties? Today is a great day. Transfiguration Sunday is a great day to discuss this. Why? Who was Jesus speaking to? Moses and Elijah, right? Moses and Elijah. The Transfiguration. The Transfiguration into beauty, amazing beauty. A sight to behold. Why? Because it was law and faith. Right? Elijah, the priest. Moses, the law. Law and faith. There is no transfiguration without justice, without the establishment of the law and justice. There is nothing good that can happen. It's all criminals. It's all more pedophile. It's all more murders. It's all more dismembering. It's all more child sex pornography and child sex trafficking. And, that's why do you think the pedophiles have been growing and growing and growing? Because the law has not arrested them. Our law enforcement, the likes of Thomas Kane, the likes of Marlon Soto, the likes of Tavita Nusa are compromised. They are compromised. And they're not doing their job. And the likes of our 44 four-star generals have been compromised. It was the DOD that carried out the assault on our country, on our military, with the COVID mandates. It was an assault. It was crimes against humanity. It was the DOD that did not stand up for absolutely what happened on January 6th. It's their duty to protect the rights to protest. Yes, did some people knock a window through? How many FBI informants were there? They will not tell us how many FBI agents were there. Up to no good. I was there. Over 1 million people were there? No weapons, singing patriotic songs and saying the Lord's Prayer. That was no insurrection. That was a protest, a legal protest. And who in their right mind does not believe that something really stinky happened in 2020 at our election counting? Nobody in their right mind denies that there wasn't something stinky happening in the election vote counting in 2020. And for 1 million people to gather legally, even after there was a denial in law enforcement, the National Guard, there was a denial for that. You know why? Because they weren't afraid. They weren't afraid. The ones that had the weapon were the ones inside that killed Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt didn't have a weapon. And I was there. I saw those that wanted to push us together, and then when we got close together, to tear gas us so that there would be some kind of stampede. But you know what? The people that were there were so awesome looking after each other that there was not a stampede. They worked together to get through that tear gas. They wanted something bad to happen. And that the little bit that did happen, that was testimony to how controlled and the patriots, the patriotic spirit that was there, that overcame the instigators that day. Without law, there is no transformation in faith. You see, the transfiguration in faith has to be a legal move to morality. Always. That's why we have the 10 Commandments up everywhere. That's why we teach our kids the 10 Commandments. We teach them the Lord's Prayer. We teach them the Word of God, because every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God is law word. Because we want them to be kind. We want our children to be kind. We don't want them to be rapists. We don't want them to be murderers. We don't want them to only think of themselves and put themselves over other people. Today is a great day to talk about the contrast and compare the transfiguration, what Jesus was saying up there, what God was showing us on that mountain, and Richard's case. Because Richard's case is all about compromise and illegality and crime and protecting the criminals. Where are the arrests? Look, where is the reporting? Yesterday, I put out a plea to Anna Whitehead. She's the academic director for Park University. And I'm going to tell you why I went to her. Because we have gone to the president already. Because of an incident that happened with the public affairs officer, or the public communications officer, that was so shocking. And so there's things happening behind the scenes. And we're afraid that she is not getting the support, or something is going on. And we want to know if she reported the false allegations against a staff member there at Park University on Fort Bliss, that because of the false allegations, she lost her job. That's crazy. But it's not crazy for us, because we have the JAG cutting off ties, severing ties with the Vanessa Guillen, first absent soldier and whistleblower family of Richard Halliday. I mean, that is crazy. We have Marlon Soto manipulating the entire case, spreading false rumors about Rich, leading a smear campaign on our son, a whistleblower. Even if he wasn't a whistleblower, it is his duty to find the soldier. We have Tavita Nusa, who we have been told was assigned to Richard before he went missing because of Richard's CPS complaints, because of his CID complaints, because the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. Participating in his demise. The special agent participated in our son's demise. So we don't know what's going on over there at Park University, but Leilani Hart not only did a false allegation for a female professor there that got her fired, lost her job, but also on the regional director, a false allegation of sexual harassment. He was cleared, but I think he had his, up to his eyeballs with whatever was going on there at Park University, because why didn't Leilani Hart get in trouble? Why didn't Thomas Kane ban her from Fort Bliss? Messing with a regional director of Park University with false sexual harassment allegations, and she's not banned? That makes everyone on that campus unsafe. Everybody on Fort Bliss unsafe. And she's not banned. What does she have with Thomas Kane? That's a good question. Because he absolutely knows who she is, because he was a professor also there at Park University. He had two hats. How do you have time to be a professor at Park University and also secure Fort Bliss? And why are surveillance footages missing? Why are they tampered with? He alone only has access to that surveillance footage. That's him. He has to give permission. So, not only she didn't stop there, then she made false allegations against Judge Michelle Morales and her attorney husband, Leonard Morales. Now, tell me that El Paso Matters, Miss Kuchurga does not know about this. Tell me that. Tell me that there's no possible way that she knows that Leilani Hart was causing so much trouble, making false allegations on Park University campus on Fort Bliss with major officials. I mean, we're talking about the regional director, we're talking about a judge and her attorney husband, and we're talking about a female professor. And Miss Kuchurga doesn't know that's happening there? And Miss Kuchurga then doesn't do her due diligence to investigate? And then she puts forth an article that interferes with Richard's case about a key witness, to discredit a key witness? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But those are good questions. Because Leilani Hart is not banned from Fort Bliss Of course, her husband works at the VA there to decide who and who doesn't get disability. Who who has he given disability to? Every case needs to be analyzed. Every case needs to be scrutinized. So you got the VA cover. That is a great way to control people. Hey, I'll give you disability. Yeah. Hey, I'll take your disability away. I won't give you disability. That's a great way to control people, isn't it? It's a great way to control people when you're the DES and you can say, I'm going to ban you from Fort Bliss. I'm not going to ban you from Fort Bliss. It's really clever. And why is Major General Eisenhower not acting swiftly? This is going to get so out of hand. This is already way out of hand. We're 3 years plus in, and all they're doing is making this worse and worse and putting more and more people in danger, being absolutely vile and vulgar. How many children have been raped since? How many soldiers have been killed since? How many false allegations have been made since? Because they won't act, because they won't do their job as law enforcers, as defenders of the Constitution, of the land and the people. And that's why we put out a plea to Anna Whitehead. Did she do her job, or was she thwarted? Was she thwarted by the university, or did she not report the dangers there on Fort Bliss at Park University? Because it's her job to make sure that every soldier on that campus, those are free buildings, free prime property buildings, no taxes need to be paid, no rent needs to be paid, no electric bills need to be paid by Park University. They just need to make sure they give quality education and secure the facility, the campus, for the students and the faculty. And that wasn't being done. And Richard's connected. You'll hear more about that. And I'm going to tell you, CPS is involved. There's a connection with the CPS. So put yourselves in our shoes. We're finding out that there is an individual that absolutely has a conflict of interest that would thwart or prevent us from accessing Richard's Child Protective Service complaints that we have been waiting for in a FOIA for years. For years. This is a good day, Transfiguration Day, to understand there is no transfiguration, nothing good without the enforcement of law. Moses and Elijah. Moses and Elijah. That's what brings out the beauty. That's why we have given our law enforcers, our defenders, so much. We have entrusted them so much with our most valuable assets, our volunteer sons and daughters. We support our volunteer sons and daughters. We support the military. We support, everything around the military to have that law enforcement. We support our DA and our AG and our attorneys USA. We give them the buildings. We give the FBI the buildings. We give them the air condition. We give them the cushy vacations and the transportation and everything that they need. All of the perks to establish law so that we can have the fruits of faith. Because every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God is a law word. Thou shalt not rape children. Thou shalt not cover up murders. Thou shalt not take advantage of a system that has trusted you. It's all case law. I mean, even the railings around our balconies, railings going down steps, is a law word that comes from God's word. Put up the railing. Otherwise, you're in trouble for not securing the safety of a person on that balcony, on that what do you call it? They have big patios up on the roof, the rooftop patios. That comes from God, y'all. If you have a hole in the road, a deep hole in the road, you better put up a yield. You better put up a little cage or something to let people know, beware of the hole. That's case law from the Bible. If that's not enforced, then we have a bunch of broken legs. We have a bunch of car wrecks. What the DOD did with the COVID mandates was so criminal because they took the law of the devil and instituted it, and not the glorious law of God that gives us freedom, that gives us, our little businesses, that gives us safety, health, everything beautiful, everything good. Moses and Elisha. And this whole case screams out that it's the evil that is being protected, that some kind of other foreign ideology, a foreign ideology is being implemented here. But that's not the Constitution. And the last time I looked, the Constitution was still the law of the land. Thank God. Thank God. And every one of our 44 four-star generals, now 43 four-star generals, we need to get down to 7. We need to get down to 7. We're so top heavy. Thank you. Write a letter to Senator Tuberville and say, thank you so much for being the hero. We need to get down to 7. Maybe less than that, since we only have 1/10 of what we had in World War II, and we had 7 four-star generals in World War II. Because the generals, you have to understand, the 4-star generals, they're the ones that have the power because they have the military. They have our fleets. They have the bombs. They have the drones. They have the warfighter. They have them. And the military is not like the civilian world. The military, you take orders. So what they did to our military, to coerce them, this is another thing. God doesn't coerce. It's all about conversion, not coercion. That's why I knew that they were up to no good. They were up to no good. They were up to serving foreign and domestic enemies because they were coercing our soldiers to do something that there was nothing necessary. There was no reason to do. It was an attack. They were carrying out a military operation for a foreign and domestic enemy. That's what they were doing. And Richard's case, the more we expose, the more you see that it hindered their military operation. What's their military operation? to destroy our equipment, to sell our weapons, to sell children coming through? I mean, who's transporting them? Who's paying for the transportation? Are we, through our institutions? Because we are paying for what's going on Fort Bliss. And it's no good, y'all. And it's hurting our service members. And it's hurting their chances in life. And Richard, kid, Ireland, Midlands and Ireland, not Dublin. Midlands. You know, the cows and the sheep, the fields, the cow patties, Midlands of Ireland. Go look up Drumroe, County Longford. Go look it up. Go look up our house. It's been altered since we sold it, but go look it up. Midlands. Longford, maybe 7,000 population. Germany. You know, homeschooled. Traveling. Christian. Patriot. You know, he took a patriotic class in the co-op. We're patriots. And he joins the military, and he's distinguished honor graduate. Both cycles, basic training and AIT. And you know, he sees them doing something very wrong. And what does he get for it? Soto launching a smear campaign from the military police guard mount on Fort Bliss. CID Special Agent Soto, former, participating in the demise of him. And then protecting the reason, protecting Leilani Hart, protecting Dallas Hart, protecting James Hart. Why are they all protecting them? Do they want their disability paycheck? I don't know. What do they have over them? Why isn't Thomas Kane, why did he intentionally not answer our, and I think buried, but Patrick Dyer could tell us, our open records request? Why didn't he demand that Leilani Hart be banned from Fort Bliss when she was causing so much trouble on Park University? Right there on Fort Bliss. Why was the retaliation against one of our prime witnesses more important for Thomas Kane to hinder? Why is he hindering the exposure of what happened to Richard Halliday? What is he covering up? What did he do? What did he do? Because let me tell you what, if he didn't do anything, if he's not implicated in this, then our witness would not be hindered. We would have law and we would have faith. We would have a transfiguration of Fort Bliss. We would have a transfiguration of El Paso. We would have a transfiguration of the United States if our law enforcement would do their duty. I know I'm full of vim and vigor today. I know because I've been through this, the tampering, the the illegality of all of this, the criminal aspect of all of this is so in your face, and we have evidence upon evidence upon evidence, and they're implicated, y'all. Sean Burnett, there needs to be arrests, absolute arrests. Because if we don't have law, and those that have done us so wrong, those that murdered Richard, that dismembered him, that okayed it, that covered it up, well, what did they transport through the tunnels? What did they transport on motorcycles, right? What did they transport in boxes from little garages? What surveillance footage? I'm saying too much already. We have intel from inside of Fort Bliss. And how much of this do they want exposed when they're already implicated right now? And they just want to get away with it and just be sent to hell. They're just riding their own little passage right to hell, along with Fort Bliss and El Paso in our country. That's what they want. Because there's no transfiguration without the law and faith. If you have any questions, thank you so much, Anicia. I know thank you so much, Donna, for coming on tonight. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you so much. We're burning the midnight oil again, and we need to write more and more letters, more and more letters. I don't know, I'm a peaceful person. I want to do things legally. I want Thomas Paine to do the right thing. I want Anna Whitehead to do the right thing. I want Major General Eisenhower to do the right thing. I want Judge Robert Shook to do the right thing. I want Special Agent Jessica Veltri she's a forensic expert, hasn't even been to visit the crime scene. What is she worried about? I'm going to share a letter that we wrote. I will. I'll post it up. I think everyone needs to know. And this was because of one heck of a great sermon today. This was because of reading God's word. That's what empowers you, see? Because God reminds you, hey, don't forget, I've adopted you. You are a child of God. And God's children are not for sale. And God's children don't just stand by and let people culture and a generation of pedophiles and murderers and prostitutes and thieves and, a whole high, we always think of that as maybe lower economic. No, y'all. I'm talking about at the highest levels. The highest levels of criminality. We're talking about the 44 four-star generals. We're talking about our Congress and our Senate and our law enforcement agencies. Why? Where is Robert Shook, Judge Robert Shook? Why can't he answer and say, oh, yeah, I wrote that warrant out? Or so and so, well, I didn't write that warrant out. Why can't he say that? Why can't he say, ma'am, you have been lied to? Or why can't he say, yes, ma'am, we conducted those autopsies on your son's remains? I'm ready to hear about my son. And it's their job to tell me. It's their job, their duty. We pay them. They work for us. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for listening. And I'm not I don't like to tell people what to do. A micromanager. I've never been a micromanager. You know what to do. God will lead us. God will lead us. And I know that I need to do this. I need to find out what happened to my son. So thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing and sharing. And let's get out the truth and let's expose the truth. And the more people that hear the truth will drive our law enforcement agencies. It will retrench everything. Because we have become the law enforcers now. Not only the investigators, the media, but also the law enforcers. Because we have to drive them to do their duty. So thank you for coming on, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.